How many different sums of money can be made from 3 quarters, 2 dimes, and 1 toonie? We're going to be using the fundamental counting principle to solve this question, but first let's slow down and focus on each of our coins for a moment. If we look at our quarters, when we're creating a sum of money, we can choose to include none of those quarters, 0 of them. That's an option. We could also choose to include one of the 3 quarters. Another option is we could include 2 of those quarters. And finally, we could include all 3 quarters in the sum of our money if we so desire. What this means is there are 4 options when it comes to thinking about how many quarters we would like to include in the sum of money. Let's apply the same thinking to the dimes and the toonie. For our dimes, we could include 0 of the dimes if we so desire. We could also include just a single dime, or we could include both of the dimes. This is a total of 3 options when we are choosing how many of the dimes to include in the sum of money. If we look at our toonie, well, we can simply choose to not include it or include it. In other words, there are 2 options for when we're deciding whether to include our toonie or not. Now, I mentioned that this would be solved using the fundamental counting principle, and that's true. If we have 4 options regarding our quarters, 3 regarding the dimes, and 2 regarding the toonie, and we're trying to figure out, using all of those, how many different sums we can make, we are going to be using the fundamental counting principle and multiplying these 3 values together. 4 options times 3 options times 2 options for a total of 24 options. But there's one piece that we didn't account for, which we need to now, and that is that no money is not considered one of the options. In other words, we cannot have the choice where we chose 0 for the quarters, 0 for the dimes, and 0 for the toonie. This single choice is not allowed. So we are going to subtract it from the total, 24 minus 1, and therefore there are 23 different options or different sums of money that we can create given these criteria.